Hello, good morning. This is day 9 of my 21-day energy reset, and I'm sure, well, if you're following me, you'll be wondering, well, what happened to day 8? Well, day 8 happened just offline. Yes, yesterday was a pretty intense day, just helping out my older child with some things, and the hubby was helping out his friend whom we have absorbed into our household. 6 feet, 300 pounds of an old family friend, both sides of the family, my family and Rob's family, who is unfortunately struggling with Huntington's disease right now, and he has been abandoned by his family. And at first, I was a little bit upset when it just kind of happened out of the blue. I mean, Rob had brought it up like all of a sudden, because he only found out all of a sudden. He had long suspected it, but only really found out all of a sudden. And our friend had asked if he could stay with us. And when Rob brought it up in the car, as we were driving to visit the younger child, of course, my immediate reaction was, yes, of course, we will help. And he's basically like a brother. Known him for a very long time. And our older child was there, but took time for the information to process, of course. Anyway, so when suddenly Robert came home with our friend, it was kind of a shock to older child and me. Like I said, at first I was angry, and depression came upon me because I am going through a lot of stress, even though I hardly feel it, thanks to a lot of self-care, which includes ketones. And seeing my old friend, of course, brought up a lot of old memories, which is, I do have PTSD from childhood and youth. So that was very unexpected, threw me for a loop, and I was actually dealing with depression that was triggered for about a whole week. However, at the end of that, I came to the realization that underneath the sudden resentment that bubbled up from beneath, well, decades, I guess, of experience, that was just the last remnant of resentment that I had been struggling with for decades in my marriage, because Rob and I married pretty young, and it wasn't really my idea. Let's just say I was not myself, because well, a lot of things that I won't get into right now. But the thing is that after that buried root, I suppose, or a root tip of resentment was unearthed, it was done. It was gone completely. And what filled in was a sudden love, a very genuine, deep affection for the hubby. And it's just weird. That love comes from the fact that I realize just how compassionate he is. We've been through a whole lot. Believe me, we have been very ugly to each other. And we have caused suffering and dis-ease to each other. But there was this newfound love, because I realized that I've often complained about how people don't care about anything or anyone, really. Ultimately, most people are like that. they care to a certain degree, but not beyond. Only a few. Anyway, but and so here's the hubby forgetting to really make sure that it was okay with myself and the older child who is autistic. So because he was so concerned about our old friend, and so then I realized, how can I actually be mad at him? I mean, he cares, and I'm over that initial discomfort, and older child has also come to terms with it. We manage, because really this person is not doing well, and this is Robert's project, and he's going to be the one to look into all the things that needs to be done, because obviously we're going to need some professional intervention sooner than later. And whatever, we can't afford the expenses either, right? So he has to be hooked up to whatever services are available for people with Huntington's disease, and there are. It's just that both of us, Rob and I, are extremely busy, right? He's the one who's making the steady money. And I am, doing all the causes that I do, right? So it's going to take time, but, God has decided that this man is in our care. So I'm sure things will work out. But anyway, so there you go, we all can. Was it Ronald Reagan that said everybody can help somebody, or something like that? Can't help everyone, but everybody can help somebody, something like that. Anyway, and that is so true. And I know a lot of people who go out of their way to help others, yes, and sometimes it's a little bit too much. And I used to be too much, but now, I'm a little bit more controlled. And anyway, but there you go. And you just have to figure out, what is feasible and what isn't. I have extended family that need my help, but they're not even in this country, much less in this city. So, it takes a lot more money and time and energy for me to go there physically and be with them. And, some of them are not happy about that, but what can I do? But with this person, we're here, and he was in Dallas, now he's here. So it's doable, within reason, right? Like I said, we obviously are going to need to hook him up to services, and including financial. So anyway, so that's the thing. But when you lose cognition, or you lose brain function, you're going to need help. And if there are services out there to help people who need that kind of help, well, there's got to be somebody who cares to connect them to those services, right? And if his family has abandoned him, then what can you do, right? And it just so happened that we are his friends, and he's lucky. He's very lucky. Anyway, but, a lot of people talk about faith, but, do you really put that into action? That's the question, isn't it? I am, like I said, I'm a doer. I don't go by words, I go by actions. And that is what I'm finding out also. And, I've often observed this, but these days it's become crystal clear as to who are the people who are really meaning what they say. saying what they mean, right? And what do their actions say? Because actions speak louder than words. And what else can we say? And friendship is a rare thing, actually. I'm the kind of person, I call everybody my friend. And the rest of my family, well, my immediate family, they're on the spectrum. That's not how they see things. It's like there's a difference between people who you would call your friend and who are just acquaintances. And I think I'm beginning to see that. But anyway, so ketones do give you mental clarity. There's a lot of science behind it, and I let people know when there are educational in-person or Zoom sessions about these things. But you got to make time for it if you're really serious about knowing more on how to help yourself with your health. And if you think you're good, then how about knowing it for other people's sake, right? Anyway, but with clarity of mind and fierce focus, I am seeing the cracks in the way I manage my energy. And that's my business, managing energy, my own energy, and helping people to manage theirs. So I am now redoing my schedule and how I manage my energy, which encompasses time and therefore money. Money is a form of energy, and that's something that people in energy medicine need to understand. There is a fine balance. There is a fine balance between, making an honest living and just being too money-minded, I guess, about this kind of work. So I'm kind of in the middle. For a long, long time, I was the other way, but you can't sustain yourself, and then you can't help others, right? So it's not the old world where you are, if you're a healer, you are going to be taken care of by your community. There are no communities now. You have to create your community. So then you have to learn how to navigate the world of business, right? And it's not easy to be in a healing business, because healing work is ultimately, first of all, above and beyond everything else. It is a calling, and you cannot lose that authenticity. So anyway, well, that was a lot to say, but this is what was on my mind. And so this episode will cover day 8 and day 9. And did I do my 5 daily things? I drank my ketones. And I drank water. Not enough, because I'm telling you, when you're busy, it's hard to drink enough water. That's just how it is. For me, anyway. I don't know about others. Especially if you don't make time to exercise, whether it be outdoors or indoors. When you exercise, you're gonna be drinking water. But when you're not, even if you're running around doing errands or working, not the same thing. But at least you're moving, and that's a good thing. And if you have watched the Zoom that I told you about, if you are on my texting list, then you missed a very important subtopic. So anyway, well, that's it for today. It is another busy day, not work day, but family day, because I have to catch up on some things. Hopefully, over the next few days, I'll have a better schedule for maintaining my own self-care. But there you go. over and out, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for day 10. Bye.